My name's Iwashita Akemi. I'm in the 3rd grade. So I'm second, huh? I'm glad that my turn came so soon. Hey, Kurata-san. Are members of the newspaper club always here so late? Let me tell you the truth. I can't praise those who stay behind here late. It's dangerous after school. Once school is over and everyone has gone home, it's the time we call the meeting of dark creatures, after all. It stops being the school we all know. The number of steps on the stairs change. The sound of a bouncing ball can be heard in the empty gym. Mysterious stains appear on the classroom walls. The school building after hours becomes a terrifying space controlled by demons. It might still be a little early for the meeting of dark creatures, perhaps, but it's almost here. The time of dusk. The entrance into night. What I'm going to tell you now is about a student who ran into something terrifying in the school after dark. There was a student here once by the name of Nanase Yasuhiro. He was bright and good at making others laugh. There's always one person like that in class, right? The type that's liked by both boys and girls. But this Nanase-kun had a bad habit that annoyed even the teachers. He often forgot things. Textbooks and notebooks, homework, gym clothes, his lunch. There wasn't a single day where he didn't forget something. Kurata-san, how about you? I forget things a lot. Oh, the same as Nanase-kun, huh? Then you should pay close attention to my story. It goes without saying that it's better not to forget things. Nanase-kun no doubt thought the same thing. Every time the teachers got angry at him for forgetting something, every time people laughed at him, he swore that the next day he wouldn't forget anything. Then the day would come. The day where he wouldn't forget something. If I remember correctly, he was in the 3rd grade at the time. His textbook, and his homework, and his lunch. He had all of them. What do you think? I can do it when I put my heart into it, eh? He looked completely smug, like some great miracle had happened. Everyone was surprised. Hell's gonna freeze over tomorrow. Everyone gossiped jokingly. But in the end, Nanase-kun really was forgetful. That very afternoon, after school, Nanase-kun returned home triumphantly, but when he opened his bag to get his homework, he was shocked. The art homework he needed to submit the next day was there, but the bag with his drawing supplies was still at school. People forget stuff like this sometimes. Nanase-kun panicked. He acted so smug during the day, but once again, he'd forgotten something. Hey, Kurata-san, have you ever forgotten anything like that? What would you do at a time like this? Go back to school to get it. Go and get it, huh? I thought you'd say that. Nanase-kun was the same. He reflexively jumped out of his chair and made his way to school. If it was anything else, he wouldn't have bothered, but his art homework was up first thing in the morning, and he had the least confidence in getting it done. Plus, he wasn't very good at waking up early either. He always woke up just before it was too late, and so he often forgot things. The school under the light of the moon looked entirely different to in the daylight. Even though he was used to the sight of it, it was like he was visiting for the first time. He held his breath in the darkness, the silent school seeming like a giant live creature. Each time the warm breeze blew past his cheeks, a chill ran down his spine, and in the corner of his mind, he could hear a voice warning him to go back. But he didn't. He wanted to avoid anyone finding out that he'd forgotten something. For how smug he'd been, they would laugh at him just as much. Plus, after becoming a high school student, he didn't want to say, "I was scared of the school at night and couldn't get what I'd forgotten." How embarrassing, right? Nanase-kun stealthily entered the school so no one would see him, and relying on the unreliable emergency lights, he walked down the dark hall. The only thing he could hear was the sound of his own footsteps. Each time he took a step, his feet felt something cold. Intent on not embarrassing himself, he had no problem coming this far, but with each clang of his footsteps, he found himself becoming more and more fearful. "I should have gotten up early tomorrow and came then," he muttered. A bit late for that now. He hurried down the hall and up the stairs. Nanase-kun finally reached his classroom. Then he nervously opened the door, and like he was trying to peek inside, he entered. Moonlight filtered in through the window, and his eyes had adjusted to the darkness, so, even without a light, he could see around the room. He might, unexpectedly, be able to finish up quickly. That's probably what he thought. But the moment he saw his seat by the windows, Nanase-kun was shocked. Nothing hung on the hook by the side of his desk. Panicking, he thrust his hand into his desk, but what he was looking for wasn't there either. Damn it! All my supplies are in the art room. He really was forgetful. I mean, to even forget where he'd left his art supplies. Hey, Kurata-san. There's a building for special classes like art and music next to the new school building, right? Most of those classes were held in the old school building until they were done expanding it. At the time, whenever students were moving to class, they had to pass down a path made of simple footboards with a roof to avoid the rain between the two buildings. Yeah, the art room with Nanase-kun's supplies was in the old school building. Kurata-san, have you ever been inside the old school building? I have. Oh, you have? Aren't you just naughty? You're not allowed to go in there, you know. You'll be in trouble if the teachers find you there. Don't worry. I won't tell anyone. Let's get back to the story. Nanase-kun made his way towards the art room. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not scared at all. He tried to tell himself. Avoiding the dark, lonely hall, he went down the stairs. He arrived at a single door at the end of the first floor corridor. The door that led to the path. Nanase-kun took a deep breath and slowly opened the door. Darkness spread out before him on the other side. All he could vaguely see was the boards extending before him, and a few of the pillars keeping the roof up. The boards and pillars melted into the darkness ahead of him, and the old school building was completely enveloped in it. He couldn't see it at all. It was like it led right into the abyss. That's what Nanase-kun thought. If he took one wrong step, the ground would swallow him up immediately. He fell victim to crazy thoughts. Creak, creak. It was just the creaking of the boards, but it sounded awfully loud. Creak, creak. How odd. Did boards really make that much noise with just one person walking on them? Creak. Then, in addition to his own footsteps, he heard something that sounded like the sound of rubbing metal mixed in. Without realizing it, Nanase-kun was concealing his footsteps. Creak. Bang. The mystery sound was getting louder. He couldn't see who, but somebody besides Nanase-kun was also walking down the hall. Someone was coming towards him. From in front of him? Or behind him? Bang! Bang! In front! It was coming from in front of him. When he realized that, something banged and the boards beneath his feet shook. Nanase-kun unconsciously froze on the spot. He could see a vague figure in the direction of the old school building. It appeared to be walking towards him. The night watchman? But it didn't make sense for a night watchman to walk around without a torch. So then, who on earth was it? The figure appeared to sway helplessly, giving off a strange presence. Creak. The creaking of the floor sounded like screams. The thing coming towards him might not be human. Nanase-kun couldn't help but think. What would you do at a time like this? Proceed anyway. Really? That's unexpected. I thought you were more timid. Like Nanase-kun. He was scared out of his mind. Although he himself boasted that he went to check it out. Nanase-kun concealed his breath and watched as the figure slowly walked towards him, sharp sounds echoing all around. As though rising out of the darkness, he came to understand just who it was that was coming towards him. Then, the figure got close enough for him to see the finer details on his face. Nanase-kun instinctively gulped. The figure coming towards him was a soldier in an old, tattered uniform. His exhausted, vacant eyes stared into space while he pushed an empty wagon. Then he stopped in front of the trembling Nanase-kun, and his vacant eyes flashed, glaring at him with a terrifying expression on his face. Ah! Nanase-kun screamed and ran. He went back to the new school building. The soldier rumbled after him. Nanase-kun ran for his life. He'd be safe if he could just reach the new school building. That was probably what he was thinking. But the soldier followed him wherever he went, even to the new school. He ran as fast as he could down the first floor hall. Before he knew it, the end was approaching. There was only a single door to a classroom and stairs leading to the second floor in front of him. The soldier continued to tail him from behind. Should he flee to the second floor or hide in the classroom? Hey, Kurata-san, what do you think Nanase-kun did? Escaped up the stairs. That's right. He ran up the stairs and fled to the second floor. He thought that the soldier wouldn't be able to follow him with his wagon up there. A good idea, right? But ghosts don't understand such logic. Clank, clang. Sharp noises rang out as he calmly ascended the stairs. Of course, all while pushing the wagon. Nanase-kun was the one at a disadvantage, as he was beginning to feel tired. At this rate, the soldier was going to catch him. He fled into a nearby classroom, hiding himself under a desk. He unconsciously picked a desk far from the door. Clank, clang. He could hear the soldier's wagon out in the hall. Just keep going, please. Nanase-kun prayed with all his might. However, clang. The sound stopped and the classroom door flung open. Squeak, squeak. The sound of the soldier's shoes, previously hidden by the noise of the wagon, echoed throughout the room. Then, bang bang. Something lightly knocked on a faraway desk. Then, not here, a voice muttered. Next, he knocked on a desk closer to him. Not here. Bang bang. Not here. While checking underneath the desks, the soldier got closer. One by one, he was steadily getting closer. Then, bang bang. Finally, he knocked on the desk next to him. Not here. Ah, I'm the last one. What am I going to do? Nanase-kun closed his eyes and trembled. Squeak, squeak. The soldier was getting closer. 1 step, 2 steps. Squeak. He heard the soldier's boots right next to him. It was all over. Nanase-kun went stiff and closed his eyes. But for some reason, he didn't hear the knocking sound on the desk. He waited, frozen, but he couldn't hear anything. Maybe he'd been saved after all. Regaining his breath, Nanase-kun opened his eyes. Then the terrifying face of the soldier looking at him stood before him. He was grinning at him creepily. So, you were here. Nanase-kun's screams rang out throughout the dark, late night of the school. But when the night watchman who heard his screams came running, he found nobody in the room. Neither Nanase-kun nor the soldier were in the classroom. All he could hear was the faint sound of sharp rattling out in the hall. When they found Nanase-kun, it was the next morning. There's a cherry blossom tree behind the old school building, right? I heard it was near there. He was lying unconscious on top of a wagon. His hair had turned completely white. The teachers who heard of the incident looked sober and quiet. Then someone muttered, "Again?" Because, you see, this wasn't the first time the wagon had been removed from the storage shed. It actually happened quite frequently. The wagon was always discovered abandoned in a corner of the school grounds after being dragged constantly around the school. You've never heard a story like this one before, huh? During and until right after the war ended, part of this school was an emergency location for dead bodies and the injured. The gym overflowed with people who were injured, and day by day, a massive amount of people died. The dead were quickly carried out and tossed into a hole in the corner of the school grounds. The wagon that carried their dead bodies worked ceaselessly. During the war, they apparently buried them just like that. Although, once the war was over, the number of dead supposedly decreased. Even so, the stench of burning bodies and the black smoke rising from them never ceased. I think that the wagon they found Nanase-kun on that time was the one they used to cart dead bodies. It's still in this school even now, along with the deep-seated grudges of those who died in the old school building. Why is it still here? If you come with me, you'll understand. How about it, Kurata-san? Do you want to see it? Yes. I thought that's what you'd say. Well then, let's go take a look. Huh? A light? Aren't you just a worrywart? It's not that dark yet, so we don't need one. See? That's the old school. It's been abandoned for quite some time now. It wouldn't be surprising if it collapsed at any moment now. Everyone take care that you don't injure yourself. Well then, let's go inside. Oh my, it's darker than I thought. But it's okay. We just have to go straight down here. That's right. The wagon is down there. Why is such a thing at the end of the hall? You'll understand when you see it. And we've arrived. It's here. It's plain as day, isn't it? Part of what used to be the hallway is now a storage room. The wagon in question is right here. Look closely. Look at the stains that spread out around here. Don't you think they look like blood? And there are marks here that look like scratches, right? I wonder who made them. Nanase-kun? Or perhaps someone from much longer ago. Perhaps it wasn't just dead bodies that they brought here. After muttering that, Iwashita-san fell silent. She was staring at something down the hall that had become a storage room. Was something there? Iwashita-san? No response. Maybe she didn't hear me. I'll try again. Iwashita-san? Oh, I'm sorry. I zoned out. Even so, she had been focused on something. What on earth was down there? Hey, Kurata-san. Take everyone and head back to the room before me, would you? Did something happen? Oh, it's just something. Let's all go back together. Iwashita-san, let's all go back together. What was she thinking? It was dangerous to leave her here alone. Oh, are you worried about me? Thank you, but I'm okay. You don't need to worry about me. Iwashita-san? Hang on. She's gone. I peered into the darkness at the end of the hall where Iwashita-san disappeared and sighed. Geez, she's hopeless. Oi, Kurata. Let's go back, like she said. Pressed on, we left Iwashita-san there and put the old school behind us. Thanks to the clouds, outside was rather dim. We all stopped and turned back to the old school building. The old building that would soon finally be knocked down. It was a creepy place, even in the light of day, but Iwashita-san was alone in there now, during dusk. I was worried. What would I do if she got hurt? Should I go back? Just as I thought it, someone tapped on my shoulder. Surprised, I turned around and saw... No way! You're still hanging around? Iwashita-san? Eh? When did she leave the old school? What's wrong? Don't look at me like that. Ah, I get it. You're surprised that I appeared so suddenly, right? Yes. All I could do was nod. I mean, I was staring at the building the whole time, and I didn't see her at all. Kurata-san, you're so honest. The building is falling apart. There are plenty of more convenient, secret ways to get out. Secret ways to get out? What? That was it? I was honestly surprised. That's right. Secret ways out. I don't know if the living can pass through them, though. Iwashita-san? Oh, you took me seriously again. You're so cute. That meaningful smile. It gave me the chills. I'm joking. That would make you feel better, right? Well, let's go back. I want to quickly hear the next story. It's already the witching hour. But nobody can escape now. Not after we've only just finished the second story. The 7 school mysteries had only just begun.